I was deported with my wife Paula on the 19th of April 1943, one day before Hitler's birthday, with a group of about 1,000 people. As soon as I arrived in Auschwitz, I was torn apart from my wife. I received a tattoo on my left front arm with the number 117033. Later I found out that out of our transport of 1,000, only 299 men and 158 women actually made it into the camp. The rest were gassed right away. But let's start from the beginning.
My name is Paula Stern, and I was born on August 22, 1922, in Arnstadt, Germany.
And I had a kind of a lonely upbringing because
When I was born, my parents already had 2 kids.
my brother was 15 years older, my sister was 12 years older, and all the children at their age were with their families gone, either to South America or to the United States. So I felt for most of my young years an only child. I was only Jewish girl in public school. I remember with my parents I was at one holiday, either Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, or maybe Passover, at the synagogue at one time.
My lifelong dream was to be a pediatric nurse. I just wanted to help kids just like me. But by the time the nursing school was accepting applications, my father had passed away.
It happened shortly after Kristallnacht, and I saw my synagogue burn, and I saw what was going on. And I didn't want to, I could have gone to Berlin, but I didn't want to leave my mother alone.
Many of my mother's friends urged her to send me to England to escape the war. But by the time all the paperwork was done, World War II had broken out, and
I was accepted to Hashara by Berlin, and that started to be a life for me to live again.
there were about 200 women and men who were farmers, and I was assigned to do kitchen staff. And that was where I met my husband, Klaus Stern.
Well, I had friends, he had girlfriends, I had boyfriends, but somehow he attracted me more. He was more sincere, more down to earth, more serious. That was the best years of my life at that time. Be with young people, see. In the meantime, my mother was gone and my in-laws were gone. We had one non-Jewish head of that who was very good to us. I mean, he respected us, but he expected a lot of work. And that, as long as we did what we had to do, was fine. I had to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. We had big kettles. We were 250 young people. And by 7 o'clock, I had for about 45 breakfast ready. Hot oatmeal. And we had in the evening, we had one person had a lot of records. We had Jewish records. We were teaching Jewish songs. So it was a nice life. That was the only Jewish life that I remember.
Then our time came in April 1942.
We are told one of those days we have to go back east. No, not back east. East. The men had to go into the army, and they need new farmers to help them. That means we have to move there. So we thought we'd go to another farm.
At this point, the Germans made me sign papers to renounce my German citizenship. The country that I called home had gotten rid of me.
And we packed clothes as much as we could.
We wore 3 layers of clothing just to make sure we would have enough.
There was one guy, and he told us, I was in Auschwitz, and I lost everything. Don't take anything with you because they take everything away from you. So we thought, well, because he doesn't have anything, he doesn't want us to take anything, but didn't pay attention.
I remember the doors being unlocked and the German soldiers surrounding us.
And when we arrived there and we saw Arbeit macht, oh gosh, Arbeit macht Freude, that was Then we know we were in Auschwitz. All the clothes, everything was gone. So I had earrings, they were taken out, my ring, watch, everything we had to give up.
The Nazis lined us up. 1 row men, women, older women, and women with children.
So there was a woman next to me with 2 small children, a baby and maybe a 2-year-old little girl.
I tried to go over there and to help.
And I heard my husband scream, "Give that baby back. Stay with our girls."
That was the last time I heard my husband's voice until after the war. Those words saved my life.
And I had no idea where my husband went. We didn't even say goodbye to each other.
We were forced to undress, our heads were shaven, we took cold showers, and then we were given prison uniforms.
One girl came to me and she said, "You know, I just heard that they're going to open an ammunition factory."
I'd never really seen the inside of a factory. Going into the interview, I was extremely scared.
So she said to me, "Just put down Kontrolle." What is a Kontrolle? What you know? And they brought big, heavy baskets with something hot in there, and that were kind of containers. We had, and measuring equipment. We had to measure those containers according to one sample, but had no idea what that was for. So little by little we found out that were containers after they went to the next section who worked to put powder in, to put into the planes for bombs.
One day on my night shift, an SS guard came up to me and asked me if I wanted to send a message to my husband.
So he said, "Write down his name, write down the date when you came and where you came from. Give it to me tomorrow."
I wanted more than anything to find out how my husband was doing.
I didn't know what to do. I wanted to do it and I was afraid to do it.
I wanted to know if he was all right.
Is he going to help me or is it a trap?
So in the end, I decided not to, and I never saw the SS guard again. One day in October 1944, one of the crematoriums was blown up.
Some of that powder in the seam of their dresses, and they were caught. And the powder was used to destroy some of the crematorium. There were 4 girls involved.
2 girls were hanged during the day shift and 2 during the night, and we were all made to watch.
The only thing what kept me going was that I was married. And I had to stick to it. And I want to get out. I want to see my husband again. And I know if I would not have been married, I could not have done it.
Our death march lasted for days. It was bitter cold, and we had no food. We ate snow off the ground just to survive.
We walked and walked and walked day and night. And some of them fell down, and you heard somebody was shot and was laying there, so we had to walk. So finally, after a day and a half, we went on an open field, and the guard said we have to rest a little, sit down, and one was gone, and the other guard was gone, and the third one was gone, and there was nobody watching us.
We seized this moment, and 4 of the girls, including me, decided to escape to a nearby chicken coop behind an abandoned farm.
And we heard from time to time German, soldiers, is there anybody? Any Jews there? Any Jews there? Any Jews there? And nothing. And then in the morning, we heard some other voices. And one of the ones I was together with, she understood English. She said, that's not German. that is not Polish, that must be Americans. I think that's English. And they called us, are there any people in there? Are there people in there? And we said yes, and that were Americans. And they told us, they're gone now, you're free now. But we stay here only until noon, and the Russians are coming, take over. So come with us. And we were too tired. So we said no. So we stayed, and at noon the Russians came. And we were lucky. Every time a group of Russians came, there was a Jewish soldier who protected us.
Before we were separated, me and my husband made an agreement that we would meet in my hometown after the war ended.
And I had an address of a non-Jewish woman. Her husband was Jewish. He was one of the first one in Buchenwald. And I gave that address to my husband in his head, and he remembered that.
When I arrived there, I received a letter from him. He was alive. He said he was in Bavaria and he was planning to make his way over soon. 2 months later, we were reunited.
We were married over 70 years. I had 70 happy years. So, but that's, I would never forget what I went through. My husband went the first time, 1973. He was asked by a young rabbi at Temple de Hirsch if he would be willing to go with him to summer camp, and talk about the Holocaust. So he said, why shouldn't I? And that's when he started talking about the Holocaust.
It's been less than a year since my husband has passed away. There are fewer and fewer of us every year to tell our stories. And that is why it is so important for the next generation to never forget what happened, so that an evil like this can never happen again.